Hello. Yes, you're really far away. Yeah, welcome to another video for Livewire Sim Racing. So, during the last video with the F4s, I promised you a bit of a review on the Moza R9. So that's what we're going to do this evening. Yeah, just run through a few little bits and bobs, things that I like, things that could be better, but by no means are terrible. Yeah, and I'll go through all that sort of stuff. You can obviously see now a little bit more of my sim rig. Again, another video will follow soon with regards to that. But yeah, so let's get into it. See what I think of the Moza R9. A quick disclaimer: everything that you see, I bought. It's owned by me. I purchased off my own back, and therefore it is a fully honest review in my own opinion. Just a bit of background on that. So previous to this wheel, I've had a Thrustmaster TSPC, a Thrustmaster TX, and a Thrustmaster TMX. I was a big fan of the Thrustmaster sort of setup. That's why I've still got a TH8A gear stick, and I've still got down the bottom there the TLCM pedals. We'll see where things progress from here, but at the moment I like it. So yeah, let's get into it. What I've got up on the screen is the Moza Pithouse software. Yes, you can still see me in the bottom left-hand corner, but yeah, I'll try and move things around. I will say this: when you're using the Pithouse, it's better not to have it on full screen, because sometimes, especially if you've got a low, like my second screen that I've got over here, it's not as good quality as my main screen, and therefore things like the ratio's slightly off, things don't appear on the screen, that sort of stuff. But yeah, so looking in the top right hand corner of the screen, you can see the actual Moza R9. As I say, the R3, R5, and the R9 are all very similar. They're different sizes, but they are very similar in their looks. Now you can see as I'm moving the wheel, so the Pithouse itself will give you an idea of what the wheel's doing at any given point. That's basically what you're looking at there is the home screen. Down the right hand side, you can choose the game, whatever game you want to play. If you've got it downloaded and it's configured, you can just launch it straight from here. The upside to that is that then you get the rev limiter working, that sort of stuff. However, I tend to use SimHub, and what tends to happen is if you start the game through this, yes, your rev limiter works, but your SimHub won't. Okay, I'm. Please correct me if I'm wrong or if I'm doing it incorrectly. But if I start it through there, then my SimHub and my dashboard, which I've got on this small screen over here, you might have seen when I took the wheel off. It for some reason it doesn't work. I don't get any reads or anything. So it's great that this flashes, but this doesn't, and it doesn't tell me, tire temperatures, that sort of stuff. Bit frustrating, but it is what it is. So I'll take you through the actual setup on the Pithouse. And what I will do is I'll make the screen smaller so that you can see more of it in comparison to where I am on the screen. So you do have some presets. So it comes with some official presets built in. So Drift, Formula One. Also, for some reason, I got some extra Jackson, whoever that is, their presets. And there's quite a few. So like that one, the Jackson one's Assetto Corsa Competizione, Automobilista, official, iRacing, that sort of stuff. But yeah, they're all there. I personally flick between the GT official, Performance official, drift official if I'm just having a play on a set of Corsa, and EAWRC, I tend to use the official for that as well. But what I do like about this, and I mean, I'm no expert on any of these sort of settings, but what I do like about this is you can go in and change the settings yourself. Once you've done that, you can save them as a preset. And as you can see at the top, you've got basic, advanced settings. You can check the force feedback, the base force feedback curve, and then play with some of the other settings like soft limit. So then you can go into the wheel, you can change all the buttons, and as you're pressing the buttons, you can test to make sure you're pressing the right button at the right time. The joysticks themselves on this particular wheel do have a click option similar to what the Xbox is, so you can move them around in any direction and then click them. The same with the ERS button and the brake bias buttons. Again, you can press them in as if they were buttons as well. And it's a great wheel. I genuinely really do recommend this wheel if you've got the money, and you're into that sort of GT, Formula One, that sort of stuff. This is definitely a very good wheel. I'll get into that in more details in a bit, but the main thing is you can also, obviously, you can use the potentiometers or the switches to flick between different settings. But what I will say is this: it's quite good because when you're mapping into certain games will only use them as buttons. What you can do is change them to a D-pad for your sticks. So it'll work as a D-pad would for a normal controller. You can change the RPM indicator, that sort of stuff, and the band knob. So that's these potentiometers, as it were. You can change them to buttons. So now when you click it, you can see it flashes up with a multitude of numbers. This is particularly good in games like or race simulators like iRacing, where you can choose between the two. So let's say, for example, you're out like I was the other day in Formula 4. You're not 100% sure on where your diff settings might be. You can adjust them using the wheel, and you can adjust them to a specific number, and the numbers are displayed on the dial. So you can go all the way around to 12. All right, and then flick it back to 1, and it'll just automatically go between them within the game. Brilliant. I love that. It gives that extra sense of immersion, shall we say. So yeah, changing that, and as I say, you can change all the indicators. You can change the RPM indicators to a normal, late. You can customize them, so you can interchange all the different points where they're going to change color, and you can change the color setters as well. All that good stuff. If you're unsure when you're mapping a game, you're not unsure what the buttons are, you can flick the button numbers up and have a look at the buttons themselves. So yeah, and it'll tell you which button you're pressing and when, all that good stuff. Now, there is something else that you can do with these, and I didn't know this until way down the line. You can actually change the color of the buttons. So you can change the light color. All you've got to do is press and hold the sticks in, get that flash in that you can see there, and then you just press the button until it changes color. And each time you press it, it will go cycle through all the different colors that are available to you. When it's better to do that without Pithouse open, but yeah, but that's essentially what Pithouse it can do for you. Other bonuses coming down to the handbrake. So you can choose your curve on the handbrake. So it's either, like me, I like it where that's feather in it. And then you can just really, as soon as you get past that halfway point, it's like all on. But you can fully adjust that by just dragging the curve itself. And then again at the top, you've got the output curves presets. I really enjoy playing, messing around with the handbrake. It is great. You might have seen it a couple of times when I've been doing a little bit of the rallycross stuff on iRacing, and it does make a big difference through some of them tighter curves with a more powerful car. But yeah, Brilliant bit of kit. And then again, within the pit house, you can control your pedals if you had them, the Moza pedals. You can change your dashboards. So not so much with me. I've got a small screen, like Raspberry Pi type screen. But if I had the proper Moza dashboard that mounts on the top, I could bring that up, change all that sort of stuff. With the dashboard, if you do get the dashboard screen, I would say that yeah, it doesn't work with SimHub. You either have what Moza gives you or nothing at all. A little bit frustrating, but that's one of the reasons why I stuck with a second screen. Plus, it takes up quite a lot of room in front of my race screen as it is. You also have the hub. So I believe, don't quote me on this, but so I've got an older version of the R9. The newer version comes with this hub built in, so you can plug all your ancillaries like your handbrake, any Moza sort of setup or piece of equipment accessory can be plugged straight into that base, and or with the newer version, plug straight into the hub or into the drive unit, and then it'll just control everything. Saves you having separate USBs for everything. I've got a USB hub down here and a USB hub underneath my frame that everything's plugged into. But yeah, it's no great shakes for me. H-Box, again, I don't have one. I've got the TH8A. Maybe one day I'll go for this. But yeah, you can have that set up. Sequential shifter. I am looking into getting one of these, and if I do get one, I will put a review out. But again, it'll be out my own pocket. I've already shown you the handbrake, and then we've got the updates. So you can just one click to upgrade all, and it'll do all your updates at once for whatever steering wheel's plugged into it, whatever other kit you've got, whether it's USB or into the hub or into the actual drive unit itself. And then further down, you got your own system settings, experimental functions. So if prior to any updates, Moza might put out some special functions that you can play with, and that's how you would do that. Ergonomically, so we'll talk about the wheels now. So the GS GT wheel, this is the V2 one. The V1 and the V2 both came with the option of hard leather handles, or you could get Alcantara. What I will say, I went hard leather. I wear gloves. The grip is phenomenal. I mean, it really is. The only issue is I've got quite wide and bony fingers. And I do find that sometimes my hand just at the bottom starts to get a bit uncomfortable if I'm in a race for a prolonged period. And I do find that then I have to sort of turn my wrists in and bring my hands up a little bit, start to relax my fingers back. It just takes some getting used to. And with gloves, I'm fine with that. I will say that if you've got a big set of proper racing gloves or big thick pair of gloves, it's going to become quite awkward. You're going to wind up with your little finger sticking out, that sort of stuff, because you can't get it into that area. But yeah, it'll take some getting used to. Other issues. Now, I've put the silence or the silencing pads in because the gear changes with these paddles are so loud, like really loud. You could probably hear it if I lean in. Now, that's with the dulling pads. If I didn't have the dulling pads, that click is probably almost twice that loud. It can be quite distracting. And if you are doing content videos like me, you've kind of got to stay well back. So otherwise, like cheap mics like this, which came with my headset, will pick that noise up. The clutch is completely silent. It will click, but that's more because I'm being quite heavy-handed with it there, rather than the click which is brought on by the magnets for the paddle shifts. But that's just with this wheel. I don't know what the Formula One wheel, which has a screen on it, is like. I assume it'd be the same because it's a very similar sort of setup. I don't know for certain. But the other wheel, yeah, much quieter. But it's a great wheel. It really is a great wheel. I can't fault it otherwise. Yeah, I've seen people complain about the quality of the buttons, that sort of stuff. I don't have a drama with it. However, as I've said before, I do come from Thrustmaster, cheaper end of the market. Before I went to this, I haven't tried out anything like Fanatec or Simicube or any of that sort of stuff. I've been Moza since the start. I really can't fault it. I really can't. Other than what I've mentioned. But they're just minor things. I don't think it detracts from the use of the item at all. What I'll do is I'll cut away now and I'll show you the ES wheel being used in anger. And you can see how responsive it is. So, as you can see, we're just going to jump into a race on Assetto Corsa. I've set up a race at Donnington Grand Prix circuit with the 1990s touring cars downloaded from VRC. What I didn't mention before is you don't necessarily have to have the app on your PC or whatever software or whatever unit you're working with, or whatever platform you're working with. But yeah, with the R9, I don't know about the R3 or R5, but you do have this Bluetooth, so you can download the app onto your phone or other device, and literally choose all the settings that you could with the actual software or the app on your PC. So all of the presets are there. So I'm just going to go straight in. I'm going to choose GT official. As you can see, it's loading up, and then there you go, setup successful. So we know that the steering wheel is good to go. Once I've done that, I can obviously change all the different settings within the app, even during the race. But yeah, so that's a useful tool to have. It does give you that flexibility, so you might forget that you've actually got it all set up that way, get into the middle of a race and then realise, oh crap, I've got it on drift setting where everything's really light, and I just go around the corners like no tomorrow, or like now I'm just about to go into touring cars, so I might find that the setting that I've got isn't what I want for this sort of racing. So we're just going to go out in the Gajira Ascent. It's not a Honda Accord, not by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, so just a quick lap of Donnington so you can see how the steering wheel works. So missed the start there. As you can tell, the clicking of the clicking of the gear changes is a lot easier. Now, one of the reasons I chose the touring cars is because they're front wheel drive, and you'll see that the wheels tend to snap at me. So you get a real feel when you get that understeer. It gets very light, but then as soon as the grip comes back, you can see it'll bite back at you. You might also hear how the steering wheel, when I hit the rumble strip, ooh, he nearly went. You can hear it vibrating. It's a lot better. You feel it through the steering wheel a lot better with direct drive than you would with a belt or gear driven steering wheel. And as you can see, it can be quite reactive. Now, if you've never used a direct drive wheel before, Oh, I've got to slow down. Missed the apex. If you've not used the direct drive wheel before, what I would say is Moza does have a setting in which you can put hands off mode. Like there, you saw it start flicking backwards and forwards, but then it stopped flicking. And that's just to save your thumbs or the steering wheel from having real problems. I got DQ'd. Whoops. What I would say with the steering wheel itself as well, a lot of people have concerns about it overheating. I touch wood, have never had an overheating issue, and I've done quite a lot of racing, as you've seen, at the highest settings that I can get for this wheelbase. And yeah, it's never skipped a beat, if I'm honest. You know, even now, that was quite an intense session. There's not a lot of heat out of it. The other thing is that even in the proximity to quite a powerful TV, I don't have any issues with it getting too hot or any of that sort of stuff. So yeah, generally a very, very good bit of kit. Very good bit of kit. Overall, I can't fault it. And as I say, you know, coming from the fact that I bought it, I'm overly impressed. If I bought it and there was problems with it, or I didn't like it, I would be honest and tell you. So there it is, the Moza R9 and the rest of my Moza bits and bobs, and Pithouse as well. Yeah, so we're through the video, we covered the Moza R9 base, the Moza ES wheel, and the GS GT V2. Could have called it something else, but you know, it is what it is. And I've talked about the handbrake briefly. There's not a lot to it, really. It's a great piece of kit. It feels solid, sturdy, and easily mounted. Yeah, there's not a lot else to talk about, really. But yeah, and that's that. So earlier in the video, I said I've got a bit of an update. So over the next couple of days, as in this weekend, I'll be at Donnington Park. So I'll get some footage of what's going on there, which includes the British Touring Car Championship, as in the 90s British Touring Car Championship. So similar to what we were doing with the test of the ES wheel, yeah, I get to go and see it live. That's going to be quite nostalgic for me. Being I was 19 years old in 1999, so yeah, that was a good few years back. So yeah, bringing back some memories of the time when McLaren was dominating Formula One so much that it got boring, and people were moving to watch the British Touring Car Championship with some absolute legends like Paul Radisich, Matt Neal. They're not going to be there this weekend, but I'm just getting quite nostalgic. Also, fanboy alert. Yeah, Jimmy Broadbent's going to be there, so quite looking forward to maybe rubbing elbows with a true sim racer. Yeah, maybe say hello. Hopefully I'll get some footage streamed, or at least get some footage together. I'll get a video out to you next week about that. And then yeah, I'll get some racing done probably over the weekend and get some more footage out toward the middle to the back end of next week. So yeah, look forward to seeing you then. Please, if you enjoyed what you saw and you want to see a bit more of my racing side of things, yeah, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll put up a link probably up in this corner for my previous video. In that corner will probably be other upcoming videos or past videos. Down here will be kill cams, and then subscribe on that side. So subscribe, kill cams, my video, other videos. Out.